and she's running against Al Green, the moron who's talking about impeach the president and has tried to introduce resolutions to impeach the president. And the question becomes, as always, on what grounds? It's like when they call the president a racist. I said, well, okay, maybe I'm missing something here, but give me an example of Donald Trump's racism. I'll be the first one to side with you if you can show me that this man is truly racist. No one's done that yet. So I don't know what that's all about, but Keisha's going to be with us. She's going to be interesting, very interesting. The story that had me up in arms this weekend, and those of you who checked my Facebook and my Twitter, you saw that it was the story on Vang Rhymes. Vang Rhymes, a man of an outstanding young man who has been just a model citizen, and the folks out there. I don't know what's going on with this thing right here. Okay, here we go. We'll start it up again. Try to catch the show. We tried all kinds of things here. This mixer is catches the show one week, one day, and one day it doesn't. But Vang Rhymes, the actor in Mission Impossible, which probably many of you saw on the screen with Tom Cruise, saving America, saving the world, he and Tom. And he had an incident, a very scary incident that could have resulted in him losing his life. And you go, well, Charles, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's real or not. Well, I'll let Vane tell you in his own words. I was so ticked off. I tell you, I can't tell you how angry this made me. But on Clay Kane's show, Vane related this experience. Here we go. Wow. Wow. That was Vang Rhymes in his own words, not Charles Butler. Vang Rhymes. I'm so angry. I don't know what to do. But see, that white lady, her behind needs to be arrested for making a false police report. She didn't see anybody breaking in a house. In fact, she claimed she didn't see anyone. She was lying because she's a racist white chick. This happens to black men all the time. It's happened to black men as we have lived in this country, where you're accused by a white woman. I've had it happen at work with me. I had a white woman, a young woman, younger than me. She was in the secretary pool. She did not want to do the work for a black man. We had pools in those days, and the secretaries did all the typing. We didn't have computers or keyboards or anything at our desks. So she didn't want to type my reports, and I had to stay on top of her about doing my reports. And I had a manager who was from Atlanta, white boy, who was a draft dodger, who was constantly trying to prove to me what a great American he was, which was totally unnecessary. And he would tell me, all you have to do is just put your paperwork in, and you'll get it done, Charles. So I would put it in a week ahead of time. Oh, well, you don't need to do it a week ahead of time. I just throw mine in a couple of days before I need it. And not listening to one iota of what I'm telling him are the facts, right? See, I always say this about people in this world. Most people live in a world of perception. They perceive things a certain way, and so therefore it is. Black people live in a world of reality. If you don't think for one iota that you cannot sass a cop, you cannot talk back to a cop, you're living in a fantasy world as a black person. I don't care if you're male or female. How many black females have died at the hand of police officers simply because they wouldn't put out a cigarette or stop talking or talking back to a police officer? How many black women have been arrested, beaten, and in one case, when this lady would not put out her cigarette in Texas, the officer pulled her from her vehicle, beat her, handcuffed her, took her to jail where she was supposedly hung herself. Now, we're not talking about 1950, 1960. We're talking about 2 years ago, 2016. And what happened to that white police officer? Nothing. Absolutely. The police officer was within his purview of, he felt his life was in danger because the cigarette smoke was in his eyes. What kind of nonsense is that? And black people, well, we just gonna go to church on Sunday, we gonna pray on it. We gonna pray for Sister Sandra. We gonna pray for her because she was a good sister. And the Lord should have took her so soon. I detest the Negro church. I detest Negro ministers. And I'm using that in lieu of black or African American, which is a term those of you who listen to me know that I do not use for obvious reasons, not African American. Man. You can't make this stuff up, though, people. You can't make this stuff up. Vang Rhymes had a gun pulled on him in his own house in Brentwood, upscale neighborhood. Those of you who think that Brentwood may sound familiar, it's the area that Nicole Brown Simpson lived in, Brentwood, upscale, big money, next door to Beverly Hills. His neighbor called 911 thinking a burglary was taking place. She's a damn lie. Said she didn't call the police. She knew it was a black man who had a key walking in that house. She's trying to drive him out. I've had the same thing happen to me in my neighborhoods, in neighborhoods I've moved into. Racism is well and alive in America. And Barack Obama can go around smiling with his big ears, half white, racist behind if he wants. I detest Barack Obama. In fact, I joined a group this weekend which is trying to stop the Obama Center from coming here. The Obama Center is not a presidential library. Again, it's the sleight of hand, which is what Democrats do to dumb people. Who are dumb people? American blacks. Totally stupid. People go, well, they're not stupid. They just, well, it's 2018, people. You're still getting the same games ran on you. So you must be stupid. You do the same things over and over and over again and expect a difference. Black people are worse off today in America than they were in the 60s, without question. And most people will tell you that who are around my age and older. Now, these young folks that are coming up, they don't know Jack. As a matter of fact, I think if you watch the TV series Power, Tommy had the best line. You don't know nothing. That's what he told Tariq, who thinks he has all the answers and thinks that he's a man because he's 17, and he has an opinion. So that's the craziness that Jesse Jackson started with his nonsense about you're somebody because you're here and you're breathing. No, you're just dumb and ignorant and here and breathing with your dumb and ignorant thoughts. And don't by any chance, folks, when people start a meeting out and they say there are no dumb questions, don't believe them. There are dumb questions. Keep them to yourself. The Santa Monica Public Police Dispatch received several calls from residents of a possible residential burglary. The Santa Monica police said Saturday, this happened on Friday, they said Saturday in a statement, I don't believe them, produced the tapes. The reporting parties indicated a black man was seen entering a residence and he did not live there. Well, Vang didn't say he just moved in. He said, I have two homes, one in Brentwood, one in Santa Monica. And these white folks had not seen him until this day. If you think things are getting better in America, you're wrong. But I say this, they are better in that Americans expect blacks to act like Americans and stand up for themselves instead of run around like little scared sheep, like the Martin Luther King types. Well, we just gonna pray for sisters, Sandra. She shouldn't have been taken from us so soon. That police officer shouldn't have went in her cell and hung her, but he did. And we gonna pray to Jesus. I hate those Negroes. I say that black folks should have developed a long time ago a Negro Defense League. The Jews have a defense league. It's to protect them from cops, white supremacists, anti-Semites like these cops who are killing innocent people who are not criminals. So let me differentiate. I don't care if a police officer mistakenly shoots and kills someone who's a career criminal. Charles Butler's not protesting that. I'm protesting the law-abiding citizens or the citizen who commits a traffic stop infraction. Like the black man in South Charleston, South Carolina, whose tail light was out on his Mercedes. Cop pulls him over. That gets him out of the car. While the cop is running his plates, the man takes off running with his little fat self, little fat black man. The cop pulls out his gun and shoots the man in the back and then declares, oh, I was afraid of my life. I would like to look down the scope and give him a call on his cell phone and put that red spot on his forehead or on his chest. Now he should be afraid for his life. But everybody wants to, oh, black people are just unjustly accusing our police officers of police abuse and killing them. And these Negroes are too stupid to mount a defense because they're too busy into their Martin Luther King crap. And they're, what's that homosexual, Bayard Rustin. How can you follow or listen to a homosexual? That's what King based his whole Gandhi thing on. I never liked that whole Gandhi thing. Never, because at the end of the day, the British, the Indians, the people in India were not British subjects. That was a territory, a colony of Britain. They didn't have the rights of a British citizen. See, we had something here in America called the Constitution, and we should have made and should make our elected representatives stand by it. That tape by Vang Rhymes, it really kind of gets you, doesn't it? It kind of brings things home, doesn't it? See, it's not Charles Butler out here by himself, because people say, well, Charles Butler, just because 4 police officers came to your house to arrest you on bogus charges trumped up by a white detective and a white boy who was trying to get some money from you because he thought because you were a radio personality that you had some money. And they had no consequences for their actions, for their lies, for their perjury, for their for filing false charges. They just keep living. I don't give a damn about God has his revenge. The revenge is mine, saith the Lord. Well, get with it, Lord. Where's the revenge on these people? I see them living long and prosperous lives on police pensions that pay 6 figures. Like Lieutenant, what was his name? Burge, who lied on people, got false confessions and tortured people. This man has his full pension. I think he spent 24 months at a fat farm or something. He laughed all the way, laughed in the cameras. Destroyed folks' lives, livelihoods. People didn't see their children grow up, were in a jail, in a prison. But see, that's what Jesse and the rest of these morons have lured black people to. The status of ghetto, the status of criminal, ex-offender. I don't give a damn about an ex-offender. What I do care about is black people. And this is what the thing about this. The Koch brothers had this initiative with Van Jones, right? Wrong guy. Bottom line is black men out here need help too that have never gone to prison. But we overlook them for the criminals. And then when the criminals mess up, we go, oh, well, we tried to give these black people an opportunity. You're giving the wrong black people an opportunity. These are already people who are criminals. They already have poor character. They've already made bad decisions because that's who they are. Lord have mercy. Let me get off that for a minute. And I'm going to get on to something that is very near and dear to my heart. Trump supporters can sue the San Jose cops. Here we go again. Back to the cops. Back to cops not doing their job. You're not going to hear this on Fox News because they're going to come out with all this BS about how great cops are and how wrong people are who attack cops because they're lying. The cops in San Jose, like the cops here in Chicago, were directed not to protect Trump supporters. There's a picture of a young woman, and they have it linked to San Jose, but this is not a San Jose picture. This is a supporter in Chicago, I'm pretty sure, but they say she's in San Jose. But the same thing happened here in Chicago. They egged this young lady. They spit on her. They threw things at her, and the police just stood there. If that had been me doing that at a Clinton campaign, they would have beat me to a pulp. They would have beat me like Rodney King. But because these were Trump supporters, nothing happened. But that's going to change because the Ninth Circuit said, guess what? The city is supposed to protect you. They cannot endanger you. On Friday, the Ninth Circuit said, and this is in San Francisco, that liberal bastion, the home of the resist movement, said if the allegations are true, the officers acted with deliberate indifference to known and obvious danger, which is what they did, and violated the constitutional rights of Trump supporters. The police chief, Eddie Garcia, praised the officers after the rally for their effectiveness and restraint. Yeah, they arrested Trump supporters. They didn't arrest, they arrested the protesters who attacked cops, not the protesters who attacked Trump people. Let's play this clip from the attorney who lodged the lawsuit. Here we go. Uh-oh. Hold on. Uh-oh. There was a rally. There were several thousand attendees. I did the Pledge of Allegiance at this event, and it was a great event. As we were leaving, however, it became ugly. The police directed all of these people leaving the event. Not working. Ongoing riot that was occurring with, not that clip is not playing for some reason. Let me see if I can get it to play here. Let's see if I can open it here. Let's see. Nope, that won't happen. Let's see if I can get it to open. Let's see. I'll try to get it to play in media. But I'm going to have Keisha should be calling in pretty soon. When Keisha calls in, we'll switch. But right now, I'm opening up Windows Player, and I'm going to go out here and I'm going to try to find this. I'll try to find this doggone Trump piece because it's really good. It's really good. But basically, it's what I'm telling you, that the lady is saying, you know what? We have to stop these people don't deserve and did not deserve to be treated the way they were treated, and have the San Jose police direct them into the violence. Can you believe that? See, I would have fought back. These people had sticks. It's unconscionable. It's unconscionable. But here we are again doing the same thing and dealing with the same people. And you know what? You have to fight back. These protesters think that whether it was the war protesters, I always saw these white kids battling the police. See, the police shoot black people who attack them. You know, during this is during Vietnam. But let's look at Antifa. Let's look at Occupy Wall Street. Let's look at the anti-Trump people. They actually attacked the police. Did the police pull out their weapons and shoot anybody? We had shootings in where was that place where Michael Brown was? I can't remember. It's not Jefferson City, but right outside of St. Louis. You know, we had all kinds of things going on. But people were getting hurt by the police, getting shot by the police because they felt their life was in danger. But they don't feel their life is in danger when people are running around with sticks and clubs and hammers, wearing masks and yelling, "Kill the police." But they don't feel threatened because they're not black. You know, this whole, I'm just kind of putting it out there. Why haven't you heard about Vang Rhymes? You need to ask yourself that. Vang Rhymes has a big movie that premiered Thursday night, #1 at the box office over the weekend, but he can't get any traction when it's a real life scenario about his life almost being taken. His life almost being taken in his own home by a police officer. But we're a society out of control. As I often say, we've lost our moral compass. Wow, the police did not step forward. And the police are claiming they did. And the police, believe this or not, the police are going to file an appeal to the full circuit. See, this was only three judges. Three judges ruled 3-0 that the uh, case should move forward and that they refused to dismiss the case against the officers. Um, they said that Justice Dorothy Nelson said in the 3-0 ruling that upheld a federal judge's refusal to dismiss the suit that the officers continued to implement this plan even while witnessing the violence firsthand. And even though they knew about the earlier attacks outside the convention center, she said. If the plaintiffs can prove their allegations, Nelson said it would show that the police increased the danger to the rally goers and knowingly exposed them to risk of injury. See, some of these people, as this lady pointed out, had left the state. They left the state. They were traumatized, totally traumatized by going to this event and then being treated this way, being routed into a riot, being steered into a beating. Like this is going to change somebody's mind and keep them from coming to the polls. Hermit Dillon, a Republican National Committee woman, is the woman you heard on the tape telling about this. She's the lawyer for the Trump supporters, and she said she was pleased that the court agreed with us. She said, where the police put citizens in harm's way, they can be held liable for the consequences. The lawsuit, she said, seeks to vindicate important civil rights of all Americans, of all Americans. The city attorney is a guy named Richard Doyle. He said the city disagrees with the court's view of the law on police liability and with the plaintiff's view of the facts. He wasn't out there getting his head cracked. He wasn't out there being traumatized by these anarchists. And he goes on to say that his office would consult with the city council on a possible appeal. Whew, Lord. I did, I printed that off twice. I printed off two different articles from two different sources because I just found that fascinating. But, these are things I've talked about and continue to talk about all the time. How the law is not implemented when it comes to certain people. Now, why is that? Who gets to decide that? Who gets to decide whether or not the law is enforced on the south side of Chicago? We're talking about quality of life issues, people. Quality of life issues. Uh, Vang Rhymes lived in a upscale community, Brentwood. I'm going to put it in my title. Vang Ryan gets cop. I should say, Vang Ryan gets gun pointed at him in his Brentwood home. He needs to file a lawsuit, and he needs to do it now. If they do that to Brent to Vang Ryan's, what are they going to do to the average black person? Okay, that's what I always say. That's why I've always taken an aggressive view. That's why I've always gotten out there and did things that I really didn't want to do, but I knew that they needed to be done. It's kind of like Sammy Davis Jr. They said, Sammy, why do you take this beating from the Rat Pack every night? He said, so to make it easier on the guys coming behind me. Does he ever get credit for that? No. Why? Because the guys coming from behind him don't have his morals, don't have his standards, don't have his character, because they're ignorant ghetto people who need ignorant ghetto people to keep this scenario going. America's a great place. And I'm pointing this out. I'm pointing out these negative things that happen. It's being black in America. One day, it's not going to exist, and it's going away. Believe me, it's changing. And it's people like me talking about it. I'm not crying about it. I'm saying stand up and do something about it. You're an American. That's what I want to tell Vang. You're an American, Vang. Stand up. Get your agent to file a lawsuit. Stop messing around. You got this big movie coming out, so you gonna have big bank, baby. Big bank. Not as big as Tom Cruise, of course, but I mean you Lester. Hey, you know what? Hey, boy, get with it. Oh man, you can't make this stuff up, people. Reality is far more interesting than fiction. Far more interesting than fiction. I guess our guest, Keisha Rogers, she did not show. Keisha's a no-show. Keisha's a no-show. Boom, 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 boom. Interesting lady. Well, partner with Russia and China in building the Belt and Road Initiative, the Silk Road Initiative. It's called the Belt and Silk Road Initiative. That's a LaRoche thing. Excuse me. LaRoche says, restore Glass-Steagall. I've said the same thing. Anybody with any sense knows we need to restore Glass-Steagall. Glass-Steagall led to the financial market crash, just like it did in 29. No regulation. And they always talk about how Republicans remove legislation that, just lets the big corporations and the rich guys run wild. Well, guess what? It wasn't the rich guys. It wasn't the Republicans that repealed Glass-Steagall. It was that good old boy, the shucking and jiving boy, like old Barack Obama, but it wasn't him. It was Bill Clinton. But they say restore Glass-Steagall, reestablish a national bank. What's wrong with that? Issue federal credit for infrastructure, of course, and prioritize high payback programs like fusion and space. Okay. So, being from that area, from where the Johnson Space Center is, Miss Rogers is very keen on the space program. But London LaRoche is behind her, and she's been an associate and collaborator for over 20 years with Mr. LaRoche. And she's talking about partnering with China, as my friend Bill Mandel talks about, partnering with Russia and China to a new Silk Road. Dun, dun, dun. Do you remember the old Silk Road, people? The road that led to riches, the road that led to gold and spices. It's called the Silk Road. Ancient times. Came out of China through India, crossed over through Africa and back up into Europe. But this is a picture of it. Great picture. I don't know if you can see it. You can probably blow it up. Great picture of the Silk Road. And that's what the LaRoche people and Miss Rogers is talking about. This is a better picture of it. This is the World Land Bridge Road that LaRoche talks about. It's nice. It's great in theory. I don't really have a great deal of problem with it. I just want America to prosper and not be at the tail end on trade and on the Silk Road, as we are with a number of other trade agreements that we've entered into with folks around the world. Ms. Rogers wants to defeat the coup against the president. She'll do a good job at that. She's tough. She's tough. Her issues are the issues we all have: immigration, Second Amendment, healthcare, veterans. education. And she'll do well. She'll do well against Al. I hope that she really does well against Al. I hope that the president campaigns for her, um, and we see what happens. I'm a little sleepy today. I didn't go to bed until about 4 o'clock. Decided to get up at 8, so I'm running on about 4 hours sleep. But that's usually enough. But we're gonna take a little break. Hopefully, my my guests will call in. We don't know. Never know about these things. You never know about these things when people decide to call in. They decide to call in. So look, we're gonna take a little break, and we'll be right back. Okay, folks, we're back. We're back, and we getting ready to bring on the young lady I was talking to you about, who's going to probably defeat Al Green. One of my favorite talking points, Congressman Al Green out of Texas, uh, Miss Keisha Rogers. I've gone over her platform. How you doing this afternoon, Miss Rogers? I'm good. Hey, look, help me out. Help me out. So you're going to run against Congressman Green. What made you decide to do that? So you said he's making millions. How do you know that? Oh wow, one of the poorest districts, not in Texas, but in the country. Now, do you live in the district? Are you? I take it you're very familiar with it. Are you from Texas? Yeah. Yeah, I'm familiar with LaRouche. So you want to repeal, you want to restore, I'm sorry, Glass-Steagall, which was repealed by Bill Clinton, reestablish a national bank. What will restoring the establishing a national bank or will do for us? Reestablishing the national bank because we used to have one. Okay, and then prioritize high payback programs like fusion and space. I know you live you're around that Houston area, so the Houston Space Center, I'm sure it took a real hit under Barack Obama. It's a wonder they didn't go under. And okay, so how's your campaign going? Okay. Okay. That's great. Great. Okay. Okay. Well, that's great. That's great. The there are a couple of things that are coming up in terms of uh, the House. If you were in the House, would we know that Paul Ryan is leaving? So who would your choice for speaker be? Would you see? I like Jim Gordon. I've known Jim for years. I think he's an outstanding guy. Uh, but I know that you've been in and out of Washington. Are you have any favorites that you're leaning toward to assume that position of speaker? Oh wow, yeah. You feel that strongly about it, huh? You feel that strongly about it. Hello. Yeah. No question. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, look. Thank you. Thank you so much for being with me today. Appreciate it. We're getting ready to end the show. Okay. Take care. Okay. You're welcome, Keisha. You too, Keisha. Bye bye. Hey, folks, we're off. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. But we're going to keep right on broadcasting over at, we're going to keep right on broadcasting over at, what's the name of that place? What is the name of that place? Oh, Facebook. So we're almost finished. Keisha spent time with us, and that was great. She's a great candidate. We've ended that segment. Well, tune in tomorrow. I can guarantee you we'll be doing our thing right here. Reality Check with Charles Butler.